there's almost a religious feeling within your hardcore fans about it. How do you feel about that?
I don't really feel like I have any hardcore fans. You know, I mean, I just don't. There's some people who do. I really just don't. We have few people who see an abundance amount of shows, but we don't think of them as hardcore fans.
But the religious,
huh?
The religious feeling.
Well, what religion are they? I mean, if they are, what sacrifices do they make, and to who? Do they sacrifice these hardcore religious fans? Do they have that? Do they? If they do, then we have hardcore religious fans. And I would like to know where and when they do make their sacrifices, because I want to be there.
Somebody once told me that your collected work is like the Bible because everything is in there somewhere.
Well, that's that without, goes without saying.
A fortnight ago, I made an interview with Leonard Cohen, in which he told me, when I asked him that reclaiming to himself the fact of being a poet was too much of a burden and too much of a responsibility. Do you agree with that in your case?
I know what he was trying to say, and he's right.
You signed that.
Yeah.
There are quite a few books published about you. Do you read?
Do I read?
Biographies?
Do I read the biographies of myself? I hadn't read any really since that Bob Shelton book, which came out. I knew him. I don't know these other people.
Did you like him? Did you like him?
It was. It's difficult reading about oneself because in your own mind things really didn't go. They don't appear that way. They didn't happen that way. The way it seems. It seems very. It seems like we're reading about other people, fictitious. And if it's going to be fictitious, well, then where is all the good stuff? Like the stuff.
Have you had any temptation to write about,
Me?
about your?
Yeah, I have, and I will.
Are you in the process of doing that?
Mm-hmm.
They just translated tarantula in French, which is a scary concept.
Mm-hmm.
Was the fact the ambition of being a poet that writes, as opposed to song and dance man? Did you get it out of the way with tarantula, or was that something that you sort of said, okay, I've done that?
Oh, I think that's a particular instant, and that things were running wild at that point, and it never was, my intention to write a book, But I think didn't Lennon write a book or something?
Yeah, in his own right.
Something like that. Well, I had a manager who, when asked, well, he writes all these songs. What else does he write? And he might have said, well, what do you got? And they said, well, does he write books? And he might have said, of course he does. And they said, well, we would like to publish one. Well, I think it was one of those kind of things, where he
Arranged the whole thing
and then it was up to me to write the book, and it was never anything that I consciously set out to do. But he did that. On different occasions. He had me on a television show of being an actor, whereas I didn't know anything about it until the day I appeared. I thought I was going to sing, and these things would happen back in the early part of the last century.
But the fact that the poet.
It's a long time ago, isn't it?
Ages ago.
But
You were willing to comply with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
TV sitcom.
Huh?
You just did this TV sitcom in America, Dharma and Greg, I think.
Dharma and Greg.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You did that.
I did.
Why?
Oh, I don't know. I wasn't doing anything, and I know the guy who was writing it.
Was it fun?
Yeah. Well, I mean, well, why wouldn't it have been?
There was a rumor about you doing a variety show on some television.
That's just a rumor.
Because that seemed like the craziest thing.
I know.
the things that you're writing now, is that a sort of a memoir?
It is.
Are you having any
Mm-hmm.
recent plans for publication of that? Is
Mhm.
it coming quite soon?
It will be.
Autumn, next year?
Um, Well, I think it will be published, as I'm told, in a article form, but as a book, but articles, because they're ongoing, and that's about as much as
About your own life?
yeah.
Yeah. Is that the only thing you're writing? Are you thinking of writing any other fiction?
No, I'm not writing any fiction.
I'd like to come back to George Harrison. Now, as you're here in Europe, are you going to visit him?
I don't think I'm going to have time on this, but I probably will be eventually trying to see him, when maybe it gets back home or something.
Does the fact that you wrote your own memoirs has an influence of the songs you play on stage?
Well, that's interesting you say that, because a lot of the memoirs they use as a starting point certain songs. Yeah. And I find that that's a good way to get into unlock a lot of memories and things.
Yeah. Are you writing on the road?
I'll write ideas, but I won't really develop them on the road. But I'll write big blocks from where I want to get to.
But you have not read any of the biographies after Robert Shelton?
Well, I don't know. I mean, were there? Have there been any?
Oh yes.
There's been like 7 here.
Yeah.
This year on the where is it? Robert Shelton.
I'll have to see. I mean, I'm not aware there were any.
It's on here.
Oh.
Do you feel that the time? Why do you feel that the time was right? The time is right now for you to reflect upon your past, or were you like preparing it for years?
Oh, I think in this kind of stuff that I'm writing, I think it was just finding the right way to get into it, rather than make it some kind of self-serving story of my particular past. It doesn't come off that way. Or it comes off that way, but it doesn't. But it's dissimilar in a lot of ways. I can do it because I'm a famous person, so I use that fame because a lot of things I talk about or I write about, other people know about anyway. So with a person like myself, the process of doing it this way works.
Do you find it exhilarating, this writing, as opposed to the more deconstructed way of writing songs that you were describing? Is this something, a new exercise that sort of...
No, I don't really think about it one way or another. I mean, I'm not making a real attempt to do this. I just do it like almost in spare time,
Is there any phase in your life that you consider a really difficult phase?
Huh?
Is there any phase in your life that you see as a very difficult phase, especially difficult?
Any phase in my life that I see as difficult?
Like the
I'm
most
sure
difficult.
there's been many, but
The most difficult.
huh?
The most difficult.
The most difficult. Oh man.
conferences?
No, there've been a lot of tricky parts, you know, where you have to assume a different character in order to survive.
What are you thinking of? What phases? What years?
Well, basically, you have to surrender your ambitions at a certain point. You know, if you know, in order to get to where you need to be.
We're going to have time for just a few more questions. So.
That was a good one. I know.
What kind of ambitions did you ever surrender?
Well, that's what you're gonna have to find out.
In one of those books or articles or somewhere, you said that you are probably happier in the tour bus than in any of your 17 homes. Is that correct?
Yeah, and well, the buses, yeah, they're becoming quite luxurious now. But no, but I'm pretty happy. I mean, as far as happy goes, as far as feeling at home goes, I can't say I don't feel at home most anywhere.
You feel at home also?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I feel at home, and I feel, you know, when I'm not there, it's not like I'm longing for anything that's not presently where I'm at.
What's it like being popular nowadays? Is it easier than it was before?
I'm not the one to ask. You know, that's a philosophical question for philosophical matters. You know,
Have you tried being someone else?
Ever tried being someone else? I'm sure, but you know, we all try to be someone else when we're starting from point zero.
Bob, you mentioned earlier on that some of the stuff from the past you don't really want to listen to that much. You don't go back and listen to your old albums. Yeah, this autobiographical stuff you write in be it journals or whatever. You say the entry is the songs.
Mm-hmm.
So in which case you've been forced to go back. It's like somebody getting the greatest hits together and collaborating with a company.
Yeah.
So in that way, have you looked back at some of the Jesus that was good?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm only looking at it from an angle that maybe it's never occurred to me before to look at it. A lot of the things that happen to us, we just seem to go through without ever wondering if there a purpose to go from this to that, or why did this happen? You know, could this have happened if that didn't happen? And if this seemed so bad at the time, why it led to something so beneficial in the long run? You know, so it's written from a variety of angles, really, and it interests me to write it, but I'm not painstakingly doing it now.
Which, looking back on your 43 albums, which ones do you think are the most successful artistically, seen from Bob Dylan's point of view?
Most successful, you know, I never listened to them. I'm sure they are all successful in their way, and I'm sure they all are failures in their own way. I don't think...
But you express great discontent with producers, and we talked about Love and Theft. You were expressing discontent with the way you're being produced, but some of them must hold up better than others, in your own opinion, even though you don't listen to them that much.
I don't listen to them because I never feel that the songs have been perfected. You know, and I used to have a problem, I don't anymore, with working on some record album where a song might have been recorded, but I didn't particularly think it had been recorded very well, or the right way, or the way I hear it in my mind, or for many myriad reasons. And you know, 6 months or maybe 4 months or whenever, then the song as it exists gets out on a you know, it by people you trust, make copies, and they put it out there for the public to hear. And I feel like that's happened too much in my case. So, well, just with people that, you know, we have no reason to distrust at the time. So people, you know, I've